What's up, y'all? Welcome into the warm-up show here on Grind City Media. It's Sunday afternoon. It's home game number 41. It's regular season game number 82. It's the final Grizzlies game of this regular season. There's still basketball to be played. I'm Whitaker. Michael Wallace joins me courtside here on Grind City Media as we get you ready for this final home game of the regular season. Grizzlies coming off a loss, 117-109 at Denver on Friday night. Back-to-back losses, kind of Minnesota game before that. The defense, which has sort of been a point of contention all season, not good these last two games. Gave up 259 combined points. Dallas just beat the Raptors, 124-102. If you look at this, you would say, hey, a game between two playoff caliber teams. Dallas is 10th. Grizzlies are in the playoffs, but the rosters today are going to be a little different than I think people probably thought they might be signing up for.
Oh, yeah, no question about it. You won't see anyone who sells a jersey in the team store today, right? So just if
unless they're working there.
Yeah, no. if you're expecting to see any of the frontline guys, any of the front rotation guys for either one of these teams, you're going to be out of luck today. However, this game will still have some level of significance, and there's a reason why. Both of these teams have secured postseason berths. Both of them will be in the play-in. The Grizzlies are likely going to finish with the 8th seed, which means they're going to be on the road for Tuesday's play-in game. And Dallas is going to finish likely with the 10th seed, which means they're going to be on the road on Tuesday for the postseason as well, too. So they're just trying not to get anyone hurt, Lang. This is about preserving their frontline guys and getting through this game as much as you can without any further injury.
Let's talk a little bit about the Denver game the other night and the Minnesota game. Two games where the Grizzlies had leads in the games. Both games, Grizzlies weren't able to hold on to those leads. And I get it, like the Grizzlies are missing a couple of key players in Jalen Wells and
Brandon Clark. Yeah.
That's two of your best 8 players not able to play for you right now. But both of those games were winnable games.
Yes.
And for the Grizzlies, it's got to be disappointing to take 2 L's.
Listen, like, as much as that's true, as much as Jalen Wells and Brandon Clark are 2 of your top 4 defensive players, if you have Ja Morant, Jaren Jackson Jr., and Desmond Bane on the floor, there's no excuses.
Yeah.
You have your 3 best players. Any team in the league will take, hey, give me my 3 best players and whatever else I have to mix in, and we have to figure out a way to win, especially with what's going on with the team right now. So, you know, it's disappointing that that's had to happen. The Grizzlies have to figure out a way to win with those 3 guys if they're going to make anything of this season.
Yeah, and I think earlier this year, like we were talking about this the other night when we did the warm-up show from the other studio. You know, Jaren has had moments this season where he's been all NBA level player.
Yes.
There's also been moments where he sort of disappears and he hasn't been able to get going. Dez has been pretty consistent. Ja, when he's healthy, has been consistent. He's gotten better as the season went along, I think. But I think to your bigger point, you got to figure out how you have 3 great players. How do we optimize the 3 of those guys? And I don't know if it's just, you know, Coach Tuomas Isalo kind of got this dropped in his lap 2 weeks ago and hasn't had a training camp and whatever to get everything going. But for whatever reason, it feels like those 3 guys this season have not clicked.
At the same time, absolutely.
Yeah.
You're right. I think we've had ebbs and flows this season, and it seemed like, you know, when Jaren Jackson Jr. for the most part all season was having an All-NBA run, Ja Morant was dealing with the shoulder issues. He was hit and miss from the lineup. And then Ja comes back, takes over, becomes dominant over the last month of the season, and Jaren Jackson Jr. struggles to come back from an injury issue. Now they both are here, and they're finding out that maybe, Lang, what Taylor was predicating was more of a defensive-oriented lineup that featured Jaren Jackson Jr. offensively. And now that Tuomas Isalo is here, it's gone the other way. He's featuring a more offensive-oriented lineup that's featuring Ja Morant and Zach Edey. And Jaren has kind of got lost in the shuffle. But they still are dangerous. They have to figure that out. And again, if those 3 guys are on the floor, Ja, Jaren, and Dez, you better have a shot to win a game, any place.
Yeah. I would also say, you know, the beginning part of the season, there was a little less pick and roll, more going one-on-one.
Right.
Which really suited Jaren. Coach Isalo said tonight he's a walking mismatch at the 4 and the 6'5", so it doesn't really matter where you have him against the big. He's able to get to the rim and score with all those little hook shots, floaters, all that stuff. You know, Jaron said to me a couple of weeks ago when we were doing the slam story, he was like, he goes, anything 15 feet in to him is like a layup. You know,
against anyone.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yes.
So as long as he can get to his spots, he can get it. Now it's just figuring out, I think, how you blend those things together.
But here's the thing, though, Lang. I want to ask you this, too, because if I had a chance to go one-on-one and ask Jaren Jackson Jr. this, I would ask, why isn't he more involved in the 1-4 pick and roll with Ja there?
Yeah.
If Zach Edey can do, like, Jaren is a 7-footer with size, right? Why haven't they worked that out so that they both can be activated? And if that's the case, why has Jaren been positioned in a place where he can't be effective with Ja making plays off of that pick and roll?
But Jaren, I mean, you could also use him as a pick and pop guy, which you can't really do with Zach Edey. You know, like Jaren's a much more viable three-point shooter.
Adept at that, right? Yeah.
I don't know. There's a lot of questions as we get to the end of the season and things to figure out. We talked about the Zombie Grizz. As far as the Grizzlies getting
Zombie Grizz.
That's what I called them, the Zombie Grizz. And we got the Zombie Mavericks, too. We'll get to their lineup in a minute. I always call it, whenever the Grizzlies are like missing 4 or 5 guys, it's the Zombie Grizz. It's like, who are these guys? Where'd they come from?
Yeah.
And they usually play pretty well, whenever they're missing all those guys. As far as the Grizzlies going forward to stake a claim here in the postseason, the only path they have to getting the 7th seed is they have to win today afternoon, and Utah has to win at Minnesota. Now, Anthony Edwards picked up his 16th technical foul the other night and earned a suspension today for Minnesota, and the NBA rescinded it.
Yeah.
So he's able to play. We don't condone betting on things. However, we're not allowed to. I shouldn't say we don't condone it, but we're not allowed to bet on the NBA. But if you're into that kind of thing, the Utah Jazz are 22-point underdogs to the Minnesota Timberwolves today in Minnesota. So it looks like the Grizzlies are locked into that 8th seed, which means they're going to travel. We just don't know where to.
Yeah. And when you look at that, again, the only path to a 7, as you said, is with Utah beating Minnesota today in Minnesota. That's not going to happen. That's not likely to happen. Let me say that. But what that does,
winning.
And the Grizz winning, and the Zombie Grizz winning. So now you got 2 things that possibly can go either way. So throw all of that out of the window. It's more, you know, the Grizzlies can either go to California, where they will play the loser of the Golden State Warriors and Los Angeles Clippers game today, or they can play Denver if Denver loses and some other things happen, or they can get Minnesota in a 7-8-2. So the most likely scenario is the Grizzlies go to Minnesota. Second most likely is that they take on the loser of the Clippers-Warriors game. But again, all of that will be factored out by 5 o'clock today. We'll pretty much know for the most part, 5 o'clock Central. Yeah, it should be figured out.
So we talked about injuries and well, I guess lineup changes today. So for the Grizzlies, here's who was listed as doubtful last night. I think they're all out now.
Yeah.
Santi Aldama,
check.
Desmond Bane,
check.
Zach Edey,
check.
Jaren Jackson Jr.,
check.
Luke Kennard,
check.
John Morant,
check.
Scottie Pippen Jr. For Dallas, this has been updated today. Anthony Davis is out. Derek Lively is doubtful. Caleb Martin's questionable. Klay Thompson is out. PJ Washington is out. So we get 2 zombie teams going at it. Who do you think, Grizzlies, who do you think the starting lineup is?
Man, you know, we were talking about this too on the pregame radio recordings that we did. I think you got to start Yuki just to give if it's fan appreciation night, the fans want to see Yuki. You're not going to give him Ja, give him Yuki, right?
There's also a lot of media here from Japan.
Yeah, let him start. You know he's going to play.
Yeah.
But if you're going to play him anyway, go ahead and start him. And then you go, you know, maybe Yuki, you go Cam, you go Conchar, GG at the 4, and then you go J Huff at the 5. That's what I would think.
I think so too. And then you only have Lamar Stevens and who else left? There's only 2 more guys left.
Conchar, or did I mention Conchar?
No, you didn't. Maybe you did. I don't remember. Is there anyone else from the G League? No, because
Zion is out. Zion Pullen is out, and Cam is starting. That's it.
I don't know who you got.
Oh, Vince Williams Jr. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Vince Williams Jr. will start. He'll start. He'll start. Yes.
All right. Well, there's your starting lineup, and we'll see what happens.
Is that your starting lineup? We don't know. We just threw names out at you.
Who knows?
There's 8 players that'll be available for the Grizzlies. You take the pick.
We might get a starting lineup update while we're doing this show, and if we do, I'll try to give it to you.
Yeah.
But for the moment, who knows what's going on? It's Fan Appreciation Day. When you leave, you're going to get a poster. We'll show it to you in a minute. We're going to take a break. We're going to come right back. You're watching the warm-up show here on Grind City Media, and also we're on WMC 5.
Yes.
We're statewide across Tennessee. So see you on both of them. We'll be right back in a second. You're watching the warm-up show.
drives.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Close. He hits and the Grizzlies have the lead.
Yeah!
Jaren with a knockaway.
Good defense.
Morant attacking, spinning, hanging, and hitting.
Let's go, show! Let's go!
Would you mind standing in front so everybody could get a good glimpse of this? This can't be the look of the season. This is not the look of the season, Jessica. Like.
Tune in to the Jessica Benson Show with CJ Hurt live every weekday at 8 a.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
We are in March, which is Women's History Month.
True.
And we were talking about how do we kick off the show? What can we talk about? And we were like, why don't we talk about women's shoes? The Sabrina one. Okay.
Can't go
good,
wrong.
right?
That's a good shoe.
And the two, you could argue, is even better. But the
You
one's
can't
fine.
have the two without the one.
Yeah,
though.
in the month of February, the Sabrina 2 was the second most worn shoe in the NBA in minutes played. The Sneak Fest Show, live Tuesdays at 2 p.m. on Grind City Media on X, YouTube, and the official Grind City Media mobile app.
They say main event Jey Uso was going to open the show. So they said they're starting to hear rumbles around the plaza level of Jey Uso. They're getting the crowd together to build up the main event Jey Uso entrance. Hey, 15,000 people together, yeeting in unison, 5-star. They are yeeting together.
Tune in to Grind City Wrestling weekly on the Grind City Media app and on the Grind City Media YouTube channel.
What's up? Welcome back to the warm-up show, either on Grind City Media or live on WMC across the state, across Tennessee. Hope you're having a nice Sunday afternoon. I'm Whitaker. I'm joined now by Jessica Benson, courtside. And Jess, Mike and I were trying to figure out lineups and different things like that.
Yes.
Jessica always gives us tonight's main character. Most of the people who are your main character probably are not available for tonight's game.
Oh, don't you worry.
Oh, well, who is
We
it?
can figure it out.
All right.
I have two.
Okay.
From a dream main character scenario, we are all here for a Yuki Kawamura double-double tonight. I saw some fans who are here. They have a sign that said they came all the way from Japan for this game.
Okay.
And it is fan appreciation game. That goes for all
That's
fans.
true, yeah.
And as a two-way player, this is Yuki's finale because two-way players can't play in the postseason. And so an opportunity arises where we could see some fun Yuki Kawamura highlights.
Sure.
Bring that Japan audience back in. I just looked it up. It's 3:30 a.m. Tokyo time. So only the real ones are riding with us live. But in a more realistic of importance kind of thing, let's see what Vince Williams Jr. does today. Like there are a handful of players, be it Vince Williams Jr., perhaps Gigi Jackson, John Conchar, Lamar Stevens, Jay Huff, guys whose number could be called to come off the bench in a postseason, or if you end up making it to the playoffs in a series, you never know what wrinkles you want to throw. We've only seen 5 double-figure scoring games from Vince Williams Jr., and I know there's a couple passes that he would like to take back from that Denver Nuggets game and over the course of the last couple of weeks. And so if you could get Vince into any kind of rhythm, with Jalen Wells going down, so much of the conversation was who can take his place, and there isn't really a clear-cut answer, but if Vince was able to get some consistency, some momentum going into the postseason, I think it would be a good thing for this team.
Give me an over-under on Gigi Jackson shot attempts.
Devin Walker just asked me that as I was coming up here. I said 25, and that immediately felt low.
That feels a little low.
Feels a little low. Let's bump it up to 30.
So Chris Harrington was telling me from the Daily Memphian, there's this history of Grizzlies on Game 82, rookies having a big game. Maybe Yuki's your guy.
Maybe Yuki, maybe Cam Spencer. I mean, we could see him. We've seen him go off from 3 this season. He went off in the G League as well. It does provide some fun things to look out for, right? Like, we don't have to pretend. This is a game that the Grizzlies saw the risk was more than the reward of playing their guys, and the assumption that more than likely, I don't know what the exact odds are, but it feels like a 99.9% chance they're going to be the 8 seed, barring some crazy Timberwolves collapse against the Jazz today. And so to rest those guys felt beneficial. But you can still have fun, right? Like the Mavs are sitting a bunch of their guys too. There's players to support out here. It is the regular season finale. It is game 82. We've made it to the end of the year. Let's get a little crazy with some of these stats today.
All right. Jessica Benson will be on the call on ESPN 92.9 along with Eric Hasseltine. Is Elliot here today or Mike?
Mike Wallace.
Mike Wallace is here. All right. Tune in to catch him. We're going to take a quick break. Matt Infield from WMC5 is going to join us on the other side of this.
SPF 50 so that head won't burn. SPF 50 so that head won't burn. Scott me pelting the boom. Scott me pelting the boom. Scotty Shepherd 3 under. And that's what's going on at Augusta.
So that's what's going on at Augusta, but here at FedEx Forum, we got the Grizzlies still playing game 82. Matt Infield from WMC5 joins us now as we get ready for the last home game of the season, the last regular season game of the season. We were talking, Jessica and I were just talking about the Grizzlies lineup today. We're a few guys down, as are Dallas, though. Who do you think gets the start for the Grizzlies today?
The full starting five?
Yeah,
give me who's available. Vince Williams Jr. will definitely be one of them, I imagine. Gigi.
Yep.
J. Huff.
Yep.
Cam Spencer.
Yeah.
Who's the fourth I'm missing? They need one more big guy,
Ricky?
right?
No, you got J. Huff, Gigi, and Vince. Like that's probably your front line.
Yeah, let's say throw Bagley in there. But who knows, man?
Yeah. I forgot about Bagley. We were trying to come up with who the 8 players even are that are available. Lamar Stevens, also Yuki.
Yeah.
There's a couple guys. Well, the Grizzlies have a history on game 82 of rookies having a big game. So who do you think tonight's leading scorer will be?
You know what, I've got so leading scorer, I will go with Cam Spencer.
Yeah.
I'm curious how many assists Yuki can rack up if he gets serious minutes.
That's true.
Because it might be like double
15,
digits.
20,
Yeah. Because we see what he does in South David, so it's not out of the question.
That's true. All right, so we're going to be in the play-in, it looks like.
Yes.
Pretty much, certainly. It looks like we're going to play either Golden State or the Clippers.
Yep.
Minnesota maybe is in the mix, but I think they have to lose to the Jazz, and they're a 22-point favorite. Of all those teams, if you're the Grizzlies, who would you want to play in the first round?
If Minnesota's on the table, for sure them, because I think that we've seen in the 3 matchups this year, other than when they have a 52-point quarter like they did here the other night, I think you're better than them. The Clippers and the Warriors, especially since the Warriors got Jimmy Butler, have given you real problems, and you'd be going out to the West Coast for that game. So pretty easily Minnesota, but like you said, I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah, I don't either. I mean, especially now that Anthony Edwards is no longer suspended for Minnesota, that helps their cause a little bit. So, and Utah, like, who knows who's playing for Utah?
Well, and I had the thought, like, if Anthony Edwards is still suspended today, do they say, hey, let's roll out the starting lineup and see what happens? I still think the Wolves would win, but obviously having Anthony Edwards available makes that a lot more likely for them.
Yeah. If you're the Grizzlies, team that was second in the Western Conference around the All-Star break,
February 27th.
Yeah, and then since then it's slowly declining. Look, part of that's the schedule got a lot harder than it was, but part of that's also defensively the Grizzlies weren't as good, offensively they weren't as good. It's just kind of been a slow decline, something for the last couple months. How do you fix that? What do you make of that?
I think experience. I think the thing is, when they traded Marcus Smart, a move that I understood at the time, but like really they kind of doubled and tripled down on youth. And I think that when you look at the season, think about it, I had the thought the other day, because a couple guys that I was really high on coming into the season, Vince Williams Jr. and Gigi Jackson. Obviously both of them have had injuries, but I think both of them clearly just aren't ready to be real deal dudes on a contending team yet. And then obviously you lose Jalen Wells, you lose Brandon Clark, who is your vet and one of your, arguably your most important defender outside of Jaren Jackson Jr. because of his versatility. It's going to be an interesting offseason ahead, but we're not there yet. But I think experience is a big part of it, and they might need to add another stopper on the perimeter.
Yeah, I mean, also I think Vince and Gigi, we saw them last year, and we were like, wow, look what these guys can do. But that was a lot of usage for the two of them.
And non-consequential games.
Yeah, and a lot of, against teams that were kind of like, all right, we'll let you guys go off. We're going to stop everyone else. Now you're in a much tougher situation. It's probably harder for them to figure that out. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens. Have you watched the Masters at all today? Or?
A little bit. I mean, I certainly know about the final pairing that we've got going on.
Yeah, so I don't know. I was going to ask who you got for the Masters today.
I feel like you're a much bigger golf guy than I am. I feel like Bryson is built a little bit differently than Rory in these tight moments on a Sunday. So I think I'll go Bryson.
Okay.
What do you think?
I actually put money on Rory before the tournament.
Nice. What'd you get it at?
Plus 600. I had
okay.
Rory and Morikawa. Morikawa didn't pan out.
Yeah.
Rory's been awesome, but I think Bryce is going to win too.
Yeah.
We've seen him in a major come from behind and do this. I actually wore my Masters hoodie today. I was like,
weren't you playing yesterday?
I played yesterday.
How'd you play?
I played 18 this morning.
Wow, you're dedicated this weekend, huh?
I was playing, man. I was getting my steps in, getting my swings in.
Nice.
So
I love
feel
that.
all right. I need to take a nap though. I did have a Coke for you. I don't have a Coke.
Tonight.
At some point, yeah.
Remember, we sleep in May. We're not quite
That's
at May
right.
yet.
All right, we'll get there. And, well, we don't need to talk about the Mets and the Braves, but we'll get there at some point.
Ooh, yeah.
No. All right. This is Matt Infield from WMC5. You can catch him over on WMC on every night. You can catch us tonight on WMC. And we're going to take one more break. We're going to come back, finish this thing off. You're watching the warm-up show here on Grind City Media and WMC.
You've coached a lot of different versions of the SEC, and obviously there's never been one deeper than this. What's it like been coaching in this?
The reason for the league being so good is the commitment. Commitment to coaching, commitment to facilities, commitment to the NIL across the board. There is not anybody in our league that's not investing in all those things.
The Gary Parrish Show, live on weekdays at 10 a.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
We touched on this earlier, the panel here, about what really has been the mainstay of the Grizzlies, and that's Jaren Jackson Jr. Trip has just been awesome.
He's posting guys up. He's stronger than he's ever been. He's physical, and he's scoring all type of ways.
Hey, Grizzlies fans, be sure to tune in to Grizzbeat, where the panel and I break down all things Grizzlies and take a look at the rest of the NBA as well. The show is live every Wednesday, 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
We had big classic news from the Southern Heritage Classic last week when it was announced Arkansas Pine Bluff and Alcorn State will be the two classic participants.
Being a part of the classic is a big deal. It's the third year for UAPB and the first year for Alcorn. So I'm just glad we were able to get it done.
Get all of your HBCU sports and culture news by tuning in to HBCU Huddle with CJ Hurt and Mike Wallace. New episodes drop every Thursday on grindcitymedia.com, YouTube, and Spotify.
Let's go!
Bain drives.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Close. He hits and the Grizzlies have the lead.
Yeah!
Jaren with a knock-in.
Good defense.
Morant attacking, spinning, hanging, and hitting.
Let's go! Let's go!
What's up? Welcome back into the warm-up show here on Grind City Media and on WMC5 across Tennessee. Thanks for joining us. This is tonight's giveaway. It's Fan Appreciation Game. On your way out of the arena tonight, you get this poster. It's got the Vancouver 30th anniversary uniforms, colorway. All these guys in the middle are the guys who are going to be playing a lot tonight. So if you need the poster, this can be your program.
Yeah.
Figure out who's going to be logging a lot of minutes for tonight's Grizzlies. They're handing them out on the way out of the arena.
Yes.
So you don't have to hold on to it all night, which is helpful.
Right. That makes sense. That makes sense. Beautiful poster, man. I think that's one of the best ones that I've seen.
It's cool. Yeah, they're
over
all
the
on my
last couple
son's
seasons.
bedroom walls.
Yeah.
We got about 6.5 minutes to get you ready for this game between the Grizzlies and the Dallas Mavericks to end the regular season. And as we always do at this time, Michael Wallace and I go around the NBA and try to figure out what some of the bigger stories are that are happening across the league. And Mike, all 30 teams are playing today in the NBA, 15 games. Which game are you going to have your eye on besides this one?
Besides this one, I think it's the nationally televised one. I think it's the Clippers versus the Golden State Warriors. I think both of those teams are incentivized for winning that game. The winner of that game locks into a top 6 seed, which means you're talking about veterans, long in the tooth veterans on both rosters who can use a week off and not have to deal with the play-in. So I think that game is going to be the one out of all of these games that are going to be all in. Everybody's pushing their chips into the table. That's the one game game I'm looking at for the most.
I think that one too. The Eastern Conference is set.
Yes,
There's
yes.
nothing that can happen based on those games. So you'll probably get a lot of guys sitting over in the Eastern Conference. But the West, I mean, I would love to be able to watch Utah and Minnesota and think the Timberwolves, maybe they fall, but I don't think that's happening. So
yeah, that's a tough one right there. And then, you know, more than likely, if you're the Grizzlies, you're going to end up in the 8th seed, as we talked about earlier, and you're most likely to play the loser of that Clippers-Warriors game. So you're going to California more than likely regardless. Yes, some things can happen. Denver can still drop to 7. Minnesota can still drop to 7. But if Minnesota wins, they're in the top 6. The winner of Golden State and the Clippers is in the top 6, and Denver will be there too, unless some other craziness happens right there. So, hey, listen, man, the Grizzlies hadn't fared well in California. So maybe they end up going somewhere other than that.
But we on the Odds Couple, another fine show on Grand City Media.
Yeah.
We call that the due theory. Because they're due. They're due for a win. So
D-U-E.
D-U-E.
Yes.
I think the Grizzlies are due. We're getting to the end of the season. We used to have votes in the NBA awards.
Yeah.
We don't have a vote anymore because we're biased. But I would say we've had votes for a long time. Who would you vote for MVP this year?
Man, you know, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, right? But the more I keep seeing Jokic do some of the things like he did to the Grizzlies the other night, you know, league-leading 34th triple-double. He's going to average a triple-double this season. The other guys that averaged the triple-double during the season ended up winning MVP. He's got the most compelling case for MVP, and he's already won 3, right? So I think the vote is going to end up being closer than it probably was expected to be. But you got to give the nod to Shai Gilgeous-Alexander because from wire to wire, he's been the best player on the best team in the league.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
And that's why I would vote for Nikola Jokic.
Yeah.
Because to me, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has been the best player. But this is not the best player award. This is the most valuable player.
Good point.
And when you look at the Nuggets play, some of those guys are getting big minutes for him. You're like, how are they winning games? How are they doing this? Jokic means so much to that team. And the Thunder, this sort of works against SGA's case because they're good no matter who plays.
Yeah.
It seems like they're out there beating everybody, winning 60 whatever games.
Yeah.
So I can see, I agree. I think Shai's been the best player in the league this year. But value is a different thing for different people. So I don't know.
That's a great argument.
Yeah.
And I can't debate that whatsoever. There's a strong case to be made either way you go.
Yeah, all right. Well, also, one of the other ones that's been talked about a lot, who's going to win the championship this year? Who in your gut do you feel has the best shot at taking home the Larry O'Brien trophy?
Fully healthy, Boston repeats. Fully healthy, Boston repeats. This time they beat Oklahoma City.
I agree.
Fully healthy. Now, if one of those guys is out, whether it's Porzingis or Jaylen Brown, God forbid Tatum, or even one of their other guys, White Drew Holiday, any of those guys are out, then I'm going to Oklahoma City if Oklahoma City's healthy.
There was a report yesterday that Jaylen Brown had an injection on his knee trying to get it ready for the postseason. Yeah, it's not a great thing. I agree with you. I think the Celtics have been kind of coasting through this season.
They're peaking at the right time, though. Yeah.
And the Thunder have been trying to play 100% all season long.
Yeah.
But I think the Celtics have another level they can get to, and they're going to get to it.
This is because we haven't seen Oklahoma City do it. Like I'm fully willing to be convinced.
I am too.
That Oklahoma City is the best team out there and they're going to win it. Right? I just hadn't seen them get to even the finals yet, the conference finals yet. They haven't gotten to that level yet in this iteration of those guys.
I've also seen teams go full blast in the regular season and then kind of flame out in the postseason.
Yeah, we've seen that. Yeah.
And it makes me wonder if the Thunder have that other level they can get to. I don't know.
The difference is most of those teams have been offensive-oriented teams. This is a defensively dominant team, and they do it on both ends of the floor, and they have depth. But they also have a lot of guys that have never been on this kind of stage, and they get to play under the radar. They won 65 games and still are under the radar a lot. So we'll see how it goes, man. I'm looking forward to it.
I would normally now I ask you to give me one matchup to get us ready for the game, but I don't even know who's playing. I got the tweet while we were doing the show. All those guys are out. So give me one player to watch. How about that for the Grizzlies?
One player to watch for the Grizzlies, to me, is going to be Vince Williams Jr. Because he's the most likely of all these guys to be in a regular play-in rotation role. He's got to get his rhythm. He's got to get his win. He's got to show something tonight on both ends of the floor.
I agree. I also want to see Gigi. Because like we've seen Gigi play when the stakes are low, now he gets to play against a team that's not bad and, you know, with better players around him other than last year. So we'll see what happens. All right, we got 30 seconds left. If you're going to watch this game, flip over to FanDuel Sports Network or flip over to ESPN 92.9. Everybody's there. Eric, Fish, you're going to be on the radio. Who else is here? Chris Vernon's on the pregame. Pete.
None of us are taking a DMP. We're
PK,
still working. We're still
except for
working.
Elliot. The rest of us are working. All right. So we appreciate you joining us as the warm-up show. We'll be back at some point in the postseason. Just stay tuned. Peace out.
You're watching